Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Sudis Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Sudis. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial, right here in the middle of California. He's a financial advisor. He's a retirement specialist, and he's somebody who wants to help you answer the question, what would you do if you had all the time in the world, all the money in the world? What would that look like for you? Unbelievable how many people don't have an answer to that question. Mr. Dale Sudis, how are you doing this week, my friend?
I'm doing okay. It was a busy week, but I survived.
Yeah. We were getting calls from the radio show, and people are coming in, and you do what you call the discovery meeting, right? And you discover what they're about when they come in for the first time. What's that been looking like?
Basically, what that is, when they first come in, our discovery appointments are just that. We want to get acquainted, find out what you're all about, and what are your goals? What do you want to do? Most people are thinking, well, their questions are, did I save enough? Can I retire? Will my money last? Things like that. Mm-hmm. Well, how can I answer that if I don't know what you want to do once you stop working? And it's interesting. People hear the show, and I've said it more than once, I'm sure, but when you retire, pretend for a minute you have all the money in the world. Money's not a concern. What would you want to be doing or doing more of? And sometimes I might as well be, driving down the road with my headlights to the deer, what do they call it? Deer in the headlights look. Yeah. And so sometimes they don't know because they're so busy working, and they don't really necessarily have hobbies or other interests, or they don't think they can do the things they've been wanting to do all their life. So I really like people to think about that question. Know some things you'd like to do, because it's not just paying the bills.
Let me see. So if you were to ask me, what would I want to do? What would I want my life to look if I unlimited resource? I would say to you, Dale, I want to be 40 years younger. Can you design that for me?
Sure, just for you, Spike.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't have a way back machine, but we've got a way forward machine, right?
Yeah, we don't have the time machine.
But that's what you're helping people design. We were talking in our pre-show meeting. I thought this was really important. I do want to let our listeners know that while we now have Dale's 1 hour-long radio program, you may have heard Dale over the years doing his radio commercials here, our 60-minute and 90-second commercials here. But now we got a full hour of show. So we talk about a whole bunch of things. And on today's program, we're going to weave in and out how we mitigate risks by putting together a real written financial plan, what that looks like, what the solutions are like, how we do it, and how we would do it for you at no cost if you reach out to us. But before we get to that, in our pre-show meeting, you were talking about some reminders. We did a wonderful program a couple of weeks ago on estate planning, what that means, who needs to do it, some of the documents. And you've had some folks come in beyond their discovery meeting. You're saying you're still seeing some simple mistakes that people are making. What were some of the reminders you wanted to talk about here, Dale?
Well, a lot of times people don't understand when or why they might need a living trust, for example, something simple like that. And keep in mind, a living trust is just a fancy will. The purpose of a trust primarily, and how I look at it, is you need it for your real estate, to transfer that to your children, whoever you want to inherit that. If, let's say you're married, and you, like a buddy of mine for years, I said, do you have a trust? No. Well, you need to get one. And he's buddies with our attorney, one of our favorite attorneys. So, but he would never go get it. And I'd say, well, what if something happens to you? Well, my wife owns it. But what if something happens to both of you at the same time? Where's the house going to go? Oh, I guess it'll go to probate. Well, yeah. You can't take a Sharpie and write on the side of your house, I want the house to go to these children or
You
whoever.
could. You could.
You could.
That would be funny.
Yeah, but I would go over, I'd paint over it, and I'd write Dale.
Or Dale. I would like
Yeah,
the
right,
house
Dale.
to go to Dale.
Yeah. So to be silly about it, right? But people don't understand. Different than, bank accounts and investments and such. You could list beneficiaries, but there's not a sheet of paper that pops out of the wall that says, "Here's my beneficiaries." So a living trust, it outlives you, both you and your spouse if you're married, and it keeps everything a private family matter. The house can transfer, whatever real estate can transfer to your beneficiaries pretty seamless, pretty easily. It doesn't go out on the laundry line for all public to see what assets you have. And,
Yeah.
probate is time consuming. I mean, easily a couple years. And a house, an average house in Fresno, let's say it's worth 300,000-400,000. That might take 20,000. I don't know. It's a lot of money to get it through probate in a couple years. But anybody can walk in that probate court and say, Spike owed me money. And now
Right.
it takes your beneficiaries longer and costs more to, get through that
And now you're
process.
basically paying the lawyers to help fight what should have rightly gone simply to your heirs. And the cost of putting together a document like this, most especially for your real estate, and we can talk about investments as well.
It's nothing compared
It's
to
just
probate.
it's estate insurance is what it is, and you spend a few $100, spend $1,000, get this done while you're alive, and you can check it off then, so you don't have to worry about it, right, Dale?
Yeah, but you also need to keep in mind, well, like I was going to say, they can not only come in and claim that you owed money, but
Mhm.
it's cheaper to pay them off, settle, than have your attorneys
Oh,
fight and fight and
gosh.
fight. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a game, probate. But think about it this way too. So it doesn't have to cost 2 arms and 10 legs to set up a properly worded trust.
2 arms,
okay?
10 legs. I would like
Yeah,
that. I really,
how about-
that's interesting. But yeah, so it not really cost prohibitive to call a lawyer and say, look, I'd like to have an asset in there. I'd like to have a house in there. I just want to make sure I've got this covered.
Right.
Dale. Yeah.
Well,
there was,
keep in mind the
Mhm.
other problem people have is they got a trust years ago. Their house is in it. Then they moved. They sold that house. They bought a new house. And a lot of times title companies, to make it easier to push things through escrow and all that, will have you sign a document to take the house out of trust so you can sign it into the, to take over ownership. And many times you think your property is put back in the trust, but it's not. It's hanging out there, naked, so to speak, maybe just in you and your spouse's name. It's not actually in the trust. So there's things like that should get
yeah.
looked at from time to time.
For your own tailored written financial plan for your retirement, call Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
So, and this is just part of the process, because we're literally going to talk about mitigating risks with your financial plan. This is mitigating one of those risks. And that's the thing, is a holistic, comprehensive financial plan isn't just about investments. It's not just about what you saved in your 401k or did in your own investment account. It's mitigating as many of the risks as you can possibly think about. Losing money. You can lose money by having to go into probate court and to pay somebody off who thinks they should get a part of your house, and the kids might have to pay the lawyers. This is just one way to mitigate risk, and why we're talking about it here. And folks, if you're not sure if your house is covered, if your investments are covered, to make sure they go easily, quickly, seamlessly, and without cost to the heirs that you want, give us a call right here. You can make an appointment and you can sit down with Dale in the offices. There's no cost to it. We just want to see if you need help and what we can do to help you out. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. That's 833-856-1382. You've also got a nice, simple, easy email they can write you at. info@sudis.com. Now I'm going to spell it correctly. SOUTAS.com. That's info@sudis.com. You can write them a question. But I want this week, this is what I want, folks. I want you to blow up Dale's email. I want to see all of your questions. And if you got cool questions, I'll read them on the air. This would be awesome, Dale. Aren't you excited about this? Because as you were saying at the very beginning, you're not busy enough at all, are you?
Yeah, we were talking about how busy this past couple weeks have been crazy
And you've
busy.
had a bunch
It's
of
been
discovery
good.
meetings too, right? So what are,
Yeah.
just off the top here, what are some of the concerns that people have as they've come into your office this week and last week? What's on people's top of mind right now?
The typical is they want to retire and they're thinking a year or two or 4 or 5 years or more. And have I saved enough? Will my income,
Hmm.
can I create enough income from my savings? And how do I do that? I mean, they're focused on that. And sometimes I have to back up and look at other things. We talked about the living trust. Well, you're exposed to probate, or maybe they don't even have properly worded financial powers of attorney that would allow them to handle things for each other should they become incapacitated.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure everything's in place, and once it is, I mean, you just breathe a big sigh of relief. So it's a lot about just, in fact, I just had one the other day. It was just a second set of eyes. They have an advisor, but there are things that they're concerned about that haven't even been talked about. So, things about their income and how that would be structured. There's a variety of things that we like to look at and just get acquainted, and especially to know what they really want to do in retirement. I don't want people living what we call a just in case retirement. And that is, we've saved all this money, and now I'm thinking about, I'm going to buy that boat. I'm going to join the country club. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do all these fun things. They retire. They do nothing. Their money grows. They die. It goes to the kids. And what do the kids do? They buy the boat. They join the country club. They do the traveling and all those other things. So my focus is, what is it you want to do? Let's make sure you get to enjoy your money and your retirement. And the leftovers, we'll make sure goes properly to your beneficiaries.
If that sounds of interest to you, give us a call right here. We want to get you started on your own written retirement strategy. You can do that by calling the phone number or writing Dale to get started. Say, I'd like to come in for an appointment. Fastest way, though, is give us a call. 833-856-1382. Say, I'd like to talk to Dale of Retire Your Way, financial advisor, founder of Sudas Financial right here in the middle of California. Let's get you started on your own retirement journey, your own written plan. 833-856-1382. More with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial right after this.
Are you worried about taxes eating into your retirement savings? By engaging in savvy tax planning, you might be able to create greater tax efficiency in your retirement plan. At Sudas Financial, our team of retirement planning specialists can help you explore tax-deferred and tax-free investment options, as well as strategies to help potentially minimize your tax burden in retirement. Don't let taxes derail your retirement plans. Let us help you create a tax-efficient financial plan and work towards maximizing your savings and minimizing your taxes. Call Dale Sudas of Retire Your Way and the team at Sudas Financial today to learn more about our tax planning solutions. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudas, financial advisor, retirement specialist, and the founder of Sudas Financial right here in California. Essentially, if you're hearing us on the airwaves, Dale would like to be able to help you with your wealth strategy for retirement. How do you keep more of what you've saved for your retirement? So that includes tax planning strategies, estate planning strategies, and of course, your investment strategies. How do we create that income stream? I talked about it at the top of the show. Dale, I wanted to throw this out to you. We hear this phrase a lot inside our industry, mitigating risk. How do we help you mitigate risk? And then you'll hear it in commercials. And I wanted to pump the brakes on that because I just think it's one of those phrases that I would like our listening public to maybe have a better understanding. What does that mean? How do you help people do that? I just think it's one of those phrases that I'd like some more depth behind it to know what it means and how you help people with. Are you ready to talk about risk on today's show?
Yeah, we could talk about it a little bit. To mitigate, to lower risk, a lot of times people think, well, they've got to just move things to more the conservative style. And well, what is that? I'm going to shift more to bonds, instead of stock. A typical balanced portfolio, as they call it, is 60% stocks and 40% bonds. Yet people don't understand that in a crash, like we've seen happen a few times the past few decades, you could easily lose 30% or more value in your accounts that are structured that way. So, what if you had 40% stocks, 60% bonds? Well, you're still at risk. Your money's fluctuating. So, there's different ways to mitigate risk.
Okay. And as you also we were talking about in the beginning of the program, you were talking about estate planning, making sure that you have a trust, and this is making sure that it doesn't go through probate where the lawyers can just be looking for costs. I mean, that's mitigating a risk right there. So mitigating risk isn't just about investments. Is that my takeaway?
Well, that's a good point because, a lot of people know us for how we can protect assets from so-called spend down to a nursing home. That's a risk, right? How do we structure income to last our whole lifetime and keep up with inflation? Because that could be a risk, running out of money, and inflation on top of it. So there's a variety of ways to mitigate risk. It's not just how much risk am I taking on my investments. You're right. Because, I like that example that sometimes we'll show people. When you're young and you put money on the market, it pretty much doesn't matter if the market's going up or down, because it's going to do that up and down. It's going to be a roller coaster. Because at the end of the line, even if you flip the ups and downs to go, down for a few years and then it went up, the return on average for that time frame is the same. It's critical, though, when we retire, if you're thinking, I'm just going to pull X amount of dollars or a certain percentage out of my investments that are fluctuating, then it really does matter, that fluctuation of the market. The sequence of
This-
returns can kill you.
Oh, that's a nice fancy phrase there. That sequence of returns, and I think we've talked about that before. Sequence of returns meaning it really does matter when you're taking your money out. For instance, if you take, let's just say, $1,500 out of one of your retirement accounts, but the retirement account has also gone down 2% that week, it's like you're doubling down on the loss of what you're taking
Right.
out.
I mean, put it simply, if you have 1,000 shares of something, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes selling off 2 shares to get the dollar amount you need,
Okay.
and then the market drops, and now you have to take 3 shares, you're dwindling your investment
Mm-hmm.
even faster. So, how do you structure it so that sequence of returns? Let's say the market is down. Well, how do we draw from another source while we allow the market to rebound? What if the market's really up and we pull from that? I had a gentleman just this week who, he manages his own money, and it's his hobby, and I'm not going to push him to do things that I think would be better because he enjoys doing it. But he's got quite a bit of money in an IRA that he manages on the market. But he takes for his RMD each year, he pulls from whatever's gone up, okay? Which is smart because he's selling less shares. So if that 1,000 shares went up 10 shares and you're pulling 2, you're still ahead of the game, if you follow. So, there's ways to deal with it. But when the market's down, do you have a system that you don't have to draw from that source and drastically reduce your investment? So there should be a buffer system built in to your plan.
Call Dale Sudis, financial advisor and retirement specialist, for your complimentary Retire Your Way review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
It's essentially having a plan, and I'll tell you what, it sounds like a lot of folks out there don't necessarily have a plan, that they'll come in for that discovery meeting, maybe even the second meeting, once they come back after that and you get to know each other and you say, we connect, I understand, I like the idea of what you're talking about. But most people, when you ask them, do you have a plan for retirement? Don't they just hand you their investment accounts and go, well, yes. You say, well, wait a minute, where's the plan? Where's the strategy? Having an investment account isn't a financial plan, or am I wrong there?
Correct. You just have a bunch of accounts. That's not a plan.
Yeah.
If you go in and to buy a car and they give you fenders and wheels and You don't have a car, you have a bunch of parts, how do they fit together, that'd be a good way to
So
put
it'd
it
be like
too.
me going into a grocery store and say, I would like a chocolate cake. And they hand me flour and they hand me the frosting and they hand me the eggs and I'm like, wait, that's not. They're like, well, sure it is. I'm like, no, it's parts and pieces, but it isn't the whole thing put together. So that's what you do is you help people bake their financial cakes.
Right. I can take those ingredients, especially when I know what they're looking for the end result to be. Okay. They need X amount of dollars to pay their bills. We call that the paycheck. And then they need X amount of dollars on average to go travel, do the fun things they want to do. So that's their play check. And down the road, when the play stops, that money is going to be converted over. And possibly we need still more on top of that to keep them out of a nursing home. We call that a care check. So I like building that into their income plan instead of selling long-term care insurance, because who knows if you're ever going to use that long-term care insurance. If you pay forever and go to sleep and decide not to wake up the next day, it's a lot of money you throw out the window. Whereas if you have it built into your plan and you can just turn on additional income down the road without affecting everything else you're doing through the years, then that's a better way. And especially if it could keep you home, as long as it's safe and practical, or in some type of what I call cruise ship without water. They call those assisted living facilities, and keep out of a nursing home if at all possible.
Yeah.
So there are excellent ways to do that.
And that's what we do here at Retire Your Way, or more importantly, at Sutis Financial right here in California, is we put together income strategies to make sure it covers all of the bases. And that's one of the ways of mitigating risk, is making sure that you don't have the risk of having to go live with the kids or the grandkids when you get into retirement. So one way you can get started on that is you can give us a call. We will get you started on your own written retirement plan, your own income strategy. You can call us right here, and it's going to go over to the call center, and we'll set up an appointment during the week, 833-856-1382. You can write Dale if you want to at info@sutis.com, SOUTAS.com. I want you to blow up his emails this week. I want to see tons and tons and tons of emails, folks. Write him at info@sutis, SOUTAS.com. Any questions you might have. Now, Dale, in mitigating the risk, and we're talking about sequence of returns, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but what about guidelines? What about some of those things that we can find on that resource that's never incorrect, the interweb? What about things like the 4% rule? What is the 4% rule when it comes to your investments in retirement, and can we rely on that?
Good question. Well, basically, we kind of talked about that. If you're taking X amount of dollars out and you're having to sell so many shares, and then the market drops, you're selling more shares to get the same dollar amount. The 4% rule is basically saying that once you retire, you can keep your money invested on the market and such and take 4% off, because you should be making 6, 7, 8% on average. So your money, you're not going to lose money. But Texas Tech, who trains financial advisors, they did an actual study on that 4% rule and found that it fails more than half the time. So it's not something I rely on. I don't like, think about it. You work, you get a steady paycheck. It doesn't fluctuate. It's usually steady for most of us. So when you retire, how much do you want your paycheck to fluctuate? And when do you want to have to tighten your belt? Just because, the market's down, I can't be spending money like I did. That's no way to be retired. So I want steady, reliable, guaranteed income for retirement. And we'll probably dive into that more in a minute, but it has to be steady and keep up with inflation and last your lifetime.
Okay. If you would like a steady income stream for retirement and don't know how to do that from your investments, if you don't have a plan, if you have all of these parts and pieces, if it's like going into the grocery store and you ask for a chocolate cake, but you get the flour and the icing and the eggs and the milk, and they're like, here you go. That's not a cake. That's not a plan. That's not all put together. You probably have all of these different parts and pieces from your investments, and eventually you'll have your income stream of Social Security. But do you have a plan that is put together for you so you know that you can't run out of money in retirement? If not, give us a call right here. That's what Dale and his team does right here at Sutis Financial. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. That's 833-856-1382. How do you know if your own portfolio is exposed to too much risk right now? Dale will answer that when we get back right after this.
Call financial advisor and retirement specialist Dale Sutis for your complimentary Retire Your Way review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. How do you know if you're retirement ready? That's a question many people ask themselves as they approach their golden years. We believe the answer can be complex and depends on many factors, such as your savings, monthly expenses, and lifestyle goals. At Sutis Financial, we can help you determine if you're retirement ready. We'll work with you to assess your financial situation, identify any potential income gaps, and develop a customized plan that aligns with your goals. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Call us today to learn how we can help you work towards achieving financial security and peace of mind in retirement. Call Dale Sutis and the team at Sutis Financial for your complimentary retirement readiness review. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Will you outlive your money? It's a scary thought, but it's a real concern for many people. In our opinion, that's why it's crucial to have a solid retirement plan in place. We believe that with proper planning, you can work towards making your money last as long as you do. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about your financial future. Call Dale Sutis and the team at Sutis Financial today to learn how we can help you create a retirement plan that can potentially help you obtain peace of mind and security for years to come. Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Take control of your financial future today. Start your Retire Your Way review and financial plan by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sutis of Sutis Financial. If you would like to get your own written financial plan at no cost to you, because you are one of our valued radio listeners, just give us a call, set up an appointment. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. I also want to blow up Dale's emails this week. You can write him with your question if you want to. info@sutis.com. That's info@SOUTAS.com. Write Dale your question about income strategies and retirement. Now, Dale, we're talking today about mitigating risk, and I like the definition to mitigate. It's to make less severe, serious, or painful. So how do we mitigate the risk? How do you and your firm help make someone's portfolio less painful?
Exactly. Yeah, because there's times I've seen people and they're shocked at how much their portfolio dropped. I remember a couple of years ago, somebody came in and, it was twofold. One for his wife's long-term care to get money to keep her at home through some programs that we help people with. The other was his retirement because he just retired. And in a few months between when he retired until we were able to start working together, his account dropped, quite a bit. And I was scrambling to figure out a way to make that money, stretch and last. But we came up with a good system, and they're happy and they're doing well now. But to be, I don't want people all worried about their retirement. That's no way to be retired or to go into retirement. The big thing that we like to help people see is once you establish what you need to pay the bills and what you want to do the fun things, because you have all the money in the world. Remember that question?
Mm-hmm.
That's always a good one to keep in the back of your head, because I want you to be again thinking that way, because if you're holding back and I don't know it, then how can I build that into your plan that you really want to do all these other things? But once we dial in a solid income plan, then the other portions of their money easily can be at whatever risks they want to take. Because I have many people who love, as a hobby, playing the stock market. They manage their own money. Maybe not everybody wants to do that, but you don't have to tie all your money up for one purpose. If you have the income taken care of, your other sources of money assets can be, you could do other things with them without worrying about it affecting your long-term, livelihood.
So almost like diversifying your portfolio strategy, that it's not just in the stock funds and the bond funds of your retirement accounts. You're saying maybe even different kinds of asset classes outside of stocks and bonds.
Right. I mean, there's a variety of alternative type investments that you got to keep in mind. The main three rules that most people come in, they don't know they want to tell me that that's what they have, but I ask them and they say, yes, that's what I want. Number one, they want their money protected. Number two, they want to be able to draw some income from it. And number three, if possible, make it grow, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I mean, those three things. But is there anything that does all of that together, or is it the combination of putting together the plan, which means you need different tools? It can't all be done with one.
Yeah, that's a good question. So think of the ones who have the same three rules. Those are the big endowment funds, like Harvard Endowment Fund.
Okay.
If you look at how they invest,
And you manage the Harvard Endowment Fund, right?
yeah, it's one of the side jobs.
Just one of those little funds. So so these endowments, they have okay, I know we're kidding there, but there are these endowment funds that have billions of dollars in them. Which, okay, this is just a sidetrack spike rant, which you'll hear every now and then. I like how universities get to increase their costs 14 to 16% a year, but then they've got endowments of billions of dollars. That's a conversation for another day. But anywho,
but see, they have the same rules. They want that money protected, those billions protected, number one. They do want to draw from them for their purposes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to grow them a bit. And if you look at how they're structured, more than half of their investments are alternatives. In other words, they're not the traditional stock or bonds.
And may I ask you, Dale, what you mean by alternatives? What are those alternatives? You're not talking crazy stuff like
my deposit slip? No. No. Okay. Alternatives can be things like commodities, gold, silver. It could be real estate, like REITs. It could be limited partnerships. It could be life insurance. It could be annuities. It could be, there's a variety of things that they put money into. Again, instead of out Santa Cruz here has that, what's that roller coaster called? It's a Big Dipper. And, it's exciting. It's real big and you dive down. We've all seen those big roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
But when you build in properly alternative investments, you're now on a kiddie ride. Now, it might seem boring, but think about it. You're retired. How exciting do you want your money to be, going way up and way down, or having, we want to smooth out the ride. And effectively, that's what happens when you build in these alternatives.
Okay. All right. So, and then someone like yourself, you're saying that you also have the opportunity to be able to use and utilize some of these kinds of alternatives to build a steady income stream, a consistent income stream. I can't say the word safe for compliance reasons, but reliable.
Yeah, the any of us can match what the big guys are doing in those endowment funds. We can all do the same today. It's much easier than even, say, 10, 15 years ago, let's say. It's easier to build a portfolio, build an income plan, a full retirement plan, using all the different elements out there. But again, people don't realize. They come in and, how much can I make on this chunk of money? It's not about how much you can make. I don't care how much you have. What about your lifestyle? How are we going to maintain your lifestyle? How are we going to, be able to do all the fun things you want to do? How are we going to keep you out of a nursing home? Once we have that solved, then let's look at things that, hey, we can make this kind of money, or we can, take this kind of risk or no risk. So there's tools out there that bottom line can go up, but have floors of zero when the markets drop. So there's some neat tools that people can incorporate.
Yeah. So when Dale is talking about alternative solutions, I want you to just think about what kind of selections did you have in your retirement accounts when you were saving probably stock funds, bond funds, maybe a target date fund, but there are even other solutions, and it can become more complicated. And again, it's like having a bunch of different parts to a car, but unless you know how to put them together, you just have a bumper and a transmission and a whole bunch of screws and a seat sitting on your driveway. And what Dale does is put that all together to give you an automobile, a vehicle, if you will, for your retirement. And if that sounds of interest to you, give us a call so Dale can put together all of those different parts and pieces and make sure you've got an income stream that you can outlive in retirement. Call 833-856-1382. That call is going to go over to our call center. So don't worry about, if you're driving around, just remember the phone number or have your passenger take it down, or call it as soon as you can, though. As Dale has been saying, his appointment book is filling up and more folks are coming in from the radio show. And it gets really busy. So if you're concerned about that right now, get in sooner than later. Call 833-856-1382. Or, especially this week, I want to blow up Dale's email. Write him with a question and say, I'd like to ask you about this. What do you think? Do I need to come in? Write him at info@soutas.com. That's info@soutas.com. Now, Dale, this is going to be a hard question here. How do I know if my portfolio is exposed to too much risk? And the reason why that's a hard question is, what do you know about me? And what do you know about the person who comes in for the first time? How can you tell somebody if it's too much risk or it's too little risk?
That's not too difficult to figure out. Basically, our process, if you came in, you would see it's simple. We do encourage you to bring your current and or projected income, such as Social Security, pensions, and things like that. We encourage you to bring your current statements on all your various accounts. Now, understand, I don't need to make a copy of any of them because most people don't have all those numbers memorized in their head. Sometimes they don't even know, well, yeah, I have this account. They don't know whether it's a retirement account that's tax deferred or just a non-qualified, as we call it, or an account of just after-tax money. So by having that information, it's good. We don't need account numbers. We don't need your Social Security numbers. The most personal thing I might ask a person is their birth date, so I can start calculating based on, their income, their retirement dates, and such. It's not a difficult process. To me, it's easy. But don't ask me to do what you do. I have people coming in, they're engineers, they do all kinds of fancy things, and I would really mess up that job if that was my job. But I do know how to do this. This is fun stuff for me.
Awesome. So folks, if you would like to get your own written financial plan and find out, number one, are you taking too much risk, and what is too much risk for you? There's no cost for our valued radio listeners to reach out to us, come in, make an appointment, and we'll run some reports for you. The only cost is the few seconds of time it takes for you to dial this phone number. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. That's 833-856-1382. Call, come on in so we can get you started on your own complimentary written financial plan for retirement with Dale Soutas of Retire Your Way, and more importantly, Soutas Financial, right here in the middle of California. Are there solutions to help us capture the market gains, but still protect against losses? Another way to mitigate risk. Is that too good to be true? We're going to ask Dale and get his answer when we get back, right after this.
Call Dale Soutas, financial advisor and retirement specialist, for your complimentary Retire Your Way review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Do you know how you'll generate income from your investments along with your Social Security in retirement? In our opinion, it's never too early to start the income planning process for your future. An income plan can help you work towards creating a steady stream of income to support you throughout your retirement years. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Take control today and start income planning for your retirement. Call the team at Soutas Financial so we can help you design a complimentary written income plan to help you live the retirement you've always wanted. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial. I want you to blow up Dale's email this week. Please write him with your questions at info@Sudas.com. That's SOUTAS.com. Whatever your question is about mitigating risk, wondering about your investment strategy. Are you in the right asset classes? Write Dale and see if he can help you out through email. More likely, we'll probably got to come into the office. And to do that, the faster way is give us a call. 833-856-1382. That's going to go over to the call center. We'll schedule an appointment for you. Dale, right before the break, I was saying, are there ways that we can mitigate the risk to protect our gains, not, also have to be exposed to losses? Is that a too good to be true kind of philosophy? Do you have any rubber meets the road, like real people you've been talking to about this recently?
Well, a lot of different people. Basically, yes, that is true. You can have tools that allow you to get some of the gains of the market and have a floor of zero, which means if the market drops, you don't lose a penny. It does sound too good to be true, but there are several types of ways to do that, several accounts. And there's a couple recently, about a month ago, that came in, and they're young. I mean, they're in their mid to latter 50s, and they'd like to retire. Him
Wow.
sooner than her, but still, how are they going to do it? Have they saved enough was their concern. And as I looked at things, and we looked at some accounts where we can set things up, and in a few years we can turn on income from one of the sources, not using even very much of their assets, that creates guaranteed lifetime income for both of them. And once they do down the road and we're even delaying their Social Security till age 70. So they have enough that we can make things work for quite a few years and then max out their Social Security as well. So yes, there
Wow.
are definitely ways to
Did they have
protect them.
tens of millions of dollars? How are they able to retire in their late 50s?
They both have their 401ks and some IRA money and other savings.
So they were good
No,
early savers.
they did pretty good, but I'm not going to say they had more than, let's say, 1.1 million
Oh.
liquid assets. It
Oh,
wasn't
gosh.
a
Okay.
gigantic.
So this was more about lifestyle, in that you looked at their kind of monthly income spending plan and you asked them the question, if you had unlimited resources, what would you want to do with your life? And you came up with a
Exactly.
plan, and they can't,
Yeah, and we
without
built
running
all
out
that
of
in.
money. Wow.
The other thing I like asking is, okay, what projects, like remodels of the home, or what other big purchases in the next 5-10 years, a new vehicle and various things like that should be discussed so we can build that into your plan, because you need a chunk of money. Or is it better to get a very low interest loan on a vehicle, let's say, and make the payments because we've got your income in such a way that the interest on that car loan will be a lot less than what you're typically making on your assets. So don't take away from your assets that are earning more to, pay cash for a car. So you say, oh,
Now,
it's mine.
this happens
Yeah.
to be with this couple. I mean, you're not trying to say here on the radio that you can help everyone in their late 50s retire. But now here's the thing. Did he go back to work that next day, or the following Monday after you met with him, and go, okay, I'm going to leave work right now? What did he do with the information?
No. And you're correct. Not everybody in their mid 50s or so can easily just say, hey, I can retire. But, we've had our share of ones that, we pointed out, yes, you could retire now if you want to. And the nice thing is he goes back to work knowing he's not stuck. He gets to, he can say goodbye anytime, right?
Mhm.
And he
That's
and
like
that's
a
okay.
different, lighter way to walk into work, right? That's like 50 pounds of weight off of your loafers when you walk in the door for work. You go, you know what? I'm here because I want to be here, as opposed to I'm here because I have to be here.
Exactly. It's like years ago, my wife and I were up in Sacramento to Old Town. And in Old Town, there's these little shops. And there's one with pillows and plaques and pins. There's sayings on all these little items, all kinds of goofy sayings, right? And my wife saw one plaque and she said, "That's you." So we bought it, and that sits on my desk.
Okay, now can you say it on the radio, or do we have to?
Well, I don't know if I could say
All
it.
right, all right. No, we're
but
kidding. What is it?
Yeah, we can. But really, to get a better understanding of why or what makes that saying on my desk me is take a minute at our website, sudas.com, and there's a goofy looking guy, it's me, in a purple tie, and there's a short 4-minute video where I tell my story of what I went through as a baby on up. And the saying on the plaque is, not to spoil the ending for you, but everything's going to be okay. Now think about it.
Nice.
That's why I tell my families that I meet with, that's what I want for you. If you know everything is going to be fine, you can focus on all those fun, important things, family, grandkids, whatever, and not be worrying about your money, and with having that properly constructed retirement income plan can really make a big difference in our viewpoint. And again, that 4-minute video, I just had somebody look at this last week, and he emailed me back and he says, nothing's going to, or what is it? Nothing bad lasts forever, because that's the phrase that I came up with from a Diana Ross song, which she sang the opposite, but I made that my theme song, and it was nothing bad's going to last forever.
Oh, so okay. Hey, do you want to sing that song for us right here, Dale?
Oh, I think we ran out of time, didn't we?
No, I got 5-6 minutes left in the clock. I got
No, I'm not singing the song.
You can even do the unabridged version if you want to. But folks, here's why we're talking about this today. But we want to make sure that you've got a plan. Now, Dale is not saying he can help everybody in their late 50s be and stay retired and be able to walk into the boss. But how about you see where you're at along the journey? Are you ready? Maybe you might be able to retire a little bit sooner than you think. Maybe there's a little bit more work to be done, but why don't you talk with an independent financial advisor who is kind of like going to see your a financial doctor, and let's do a good review. Let's do a deep dive and see what it's going to take to retire when you want to, how you want to, with the choices that you want to, being able to live it the way you want to. And one way starts with a phone call. Yep. All you got to do is when you call Dale's office, it's 1973. And just give us a call, 833-856-1382. It's going to go into the call center, and we'll set up an appointment for you, dedicated to you, your family, your goals, your choices. Right, Dale? When you just give them a call, come on in.
Yeah, just give a call, because I think, wasn't it you? You're going to answer the phone, aren't you? And
well, not on the weekends. No, I had
okay.
too many show obligations for the great
if
Dale
they call
Sudas.
right now, can't they just talk to you?
No, because I got the board in front of me. I got all my toys. I got to make sure that the crowd is all excited for you.
Keep them happy.
I got to make sure that if you get off track,
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
that Mo gets you back. And I got way too much. I can't answer
you
the
have
phone.
too many tools.
I got too many tools going on over here. And just to remind everybody, that's our closing bell. It is the end of the program here. Dale, what were you going to say as the bell rudely interrupted you?
As the bell tolls. Especially if a person, don't just wait until you're 5 years from retiring, or even, within 5 years, or even if you're retired, you should have things mapped out. Don't be running around and wondering if my money's going to last or not. Just take a few minutes, and it doesn't hurt. And a lot of people, I love being able to say, hey, you're on track, you're fine, keep doing what you're doing. Because if you take care of people properly, what happens. They tell other people to come pick on you. So, and that's a good problem to have. So we get still more referrals than from any other of our advertising sources, because they know how mean and honored I am, I guess.
And folks, and he's just kidding around. Of course, folks, if you call the phone number here and you come on in, we're going to use plain language. We're going to explain it to you so you can understand what your plan and strategy would be. This isn't about sales. This isn't about pitching a product. For us, financial planning, it's a process. And maybe there are some adjustments that Dale can help you with. Maybe you're already doing great. Wouldn't that be good to know? Because if you are, there's no cost. So come on in, sit down with a retirement planning specialist, wealth building specialist, As we talked about throughout today's program, how do you mitigate risk? One way to mitigate risk is actually having a financial plan, a written plan, a savings plan, an income plan, a strategy, a tax plan, estate planning, all of that. It's holistic. It is, and maybe it sounds like a lot, but we won't make it overwhelming in the office. Dale is going to take it step by step. So give us a call right here. Dale, I'm going to ask if you want to say goodbye to everybody before we leave, but I'm going to give out the phone number and your email again. It's 833-856-1382 for you to give us a call. 833-856-1382. We're wrapping up today's program, but you're not going to interrupt the show. It's going to go to the call center. You can go to Sutis.com if you'd like to see that video on Dale and more about what we do as a financial advisory firm right here. That's SOUTAS.com, or you can write Dale. As I've said all show, I want you to blow up his emails today. Write him this week and ask him a question. See if he can help you out online. info@Sutis.com, SOUTAS.com. Dale, you want to say goodbye to everybody before we leave this week?
No, let's just keep it going for another hour. Actually, I want them to think about, a lot of people are hearing this from quite a distance from Fresno, and you're welcome. That telephone, it could be a telephone appointment. It could be a Zoom appointment.
Oh, great.
You know, it doesn't have to be driving all the way to Fresno. It just, we've helped people up and down the state we've never, ever met face-to-face who are doing wonderful.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. And you can do it by Zoom. It's the new world. I love it doing it by Zoom. Have you ever had a teledoc appointment yet, Dale? I love it.
No.
I've been sick a couple of times over the last couple of years. It's one of the positive things, I think, from the debacle of 2020, is that some things have gone virtual like that. And I've been able to speak with a doctor. They get back quickly through secure email portals. Same thing here. You can set up your financial advisor, and if it's a distance that you don't want to come and drive in, we can do it over the phone and we can do it virtually. Folks, that's going to be all the time that we have for Retire Your Way with Dale Sutis this week. Please give us a call. We want to help you with your retirement planning, whether you come on in or whether we help you virtually. 833-856-1382. For Dale Sutis, I'm Spike Spangle. We will be back again with more next week. Certain alternative investments are often complex, speculative, and illiquid investment vehicles that are not suitable for all investors and are typically only available to accredited investors who meet certain statutory financial requirements. As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session that will last as long as you need them to. Then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Sutis with Sutis Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisor services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. All rights reserved. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal and tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies.